Well, it's Monday, and the Stable Cyclist is in your podcast feed, which can only mean one thing. It is an emergency that you need to know about, and that emergency is this. Drew Dillman and Chase Wark are with me with a big special announcement, and a few weeks ago, I heard our friend Andrew Vaught say on his podcast, hey, I want more off-season drama in the gravel scene in the U.S. Well, we're here to bring it to you, Andrew, as I got Drew Dillman and Chase Wark with breaking news. Guys, what do you got for me?
Bro, this is Lunchbox Racing. We're about to drop bombs on the gravel scene in the USA. Dude, you thought the hit squad was real? Bro, you better be ready. We're going to be real teammates, me and Chase, not fake teammates.
This is a real team. Like, this is a team.
Yeah, it's a team, like.
And we're both slow enough to where we can actually help each other. It doesn't help when one guy's real fast and the other guy's kind of fast. Like, you can only help out your teammates so much in that scenario. But me and Chase are so evenly matched where we could actually help each other. Like, hopefully do a lot better. Like, two mediocre guys shooting at the gravel peloton solo is maybe sometimes you'll get in the early break and glory will await, but if you put two of those guys together on the same program, same mission, and they're both selfless doing it, then man, hopefully we can make some good stuff happen.
I think.
All right, so boys, we will. Chase, I'm gonna throw to you. What is the team name? And kind of how did this – I want to hear from you. How did this come together?
Yeah, so the team name is Lunchbox Racing, and that name came from Drew and I having a meeting with someone in the winter talking about maybe a sponsorship. And then we asked her, like, why did you come up with your team name? And she was the director of LA Sweat. And she's like, we just wanted something kind of fun, but also to show, like, women do work hard because LA Sweat is a crit team. So I wanted something, fun with a little bit of hard work behind it. And people probably do wonder, like, how is a lunchbox? How does that show hard work? I used to have a hockey coach back in when I was like 13, 14, and he would come into practice, and to get us pumped up, like he's like 35, 40. It's ingrained in my head now, and I just think it's weird looking back, but he was like screaming all the time. He broke multiple hockey sticks, like slapping them on the ground, but several times before practice, he'd be like, boys, we got to go to work. Grab your hard hats and your lunch box or lunch pail. We changed from lunch pail to lunch box because it was a little cooler. But, you get the gist. And get to work. And, like, I relate the lunch box to, like, a construction worker or many blue-collar jobs. I mean, I remember my dad picking me up on his, like, super cheap motorcycle with his lunchbox, and like I always look at my dad as like one of the hardest working people. So yeah, the lunchbox represents like blue collar, hard working people, and I feel like I have that blue collar, hard working background. Like I'm not talented. I have to do 40-hour weeks, get made fun of for it, but like I can't do 20-hour weeks like everyone else. So I have to put in extra work. And and like a lunchbox is fun, so like we can do some cool stuff with it this year. It's pretty easy to design a lunchbox for a logo, so we don't have a logo of the lunchbox yet, but we do have some text that says lunchbox. So that's where we're at, and so that's how the team name came around. And I was thinking like lunchtime, like it came from me thinking of school stuff, and then got to lunchbox at the end of the day. So
Drew, you guys obviously, like if people follow the Stable Cyclist, they know how you came together. We prank called you when Chase was on. You were a day after your baby or your wife had given birth, and somehow
she remembers. When I told her what podcast I was going on, she remembered. She's like, "Oh yeah, I remember them."
Yeah, I'll steer clear if I'm ever near you. Cool.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how you like officially got introduced to each other. Personally, why has there been such a connection between you and Chase to go from like that was in June when we called you until like, hey, we're gonna actually do a team together?
Yeah, I think it had to have been shortly after that, or maybe the same episode. I don't know. It was an episode you did with Chase, and Chase had been talking about how lonely racing had been for him the last few years, and just from listening to that podcast, I just texted him. It's like, hey man, I basically just said, I'll be your friend. Like, you seem like a cool guy. Like, there's no reason for you to be lonely. Like, there's enough people in this sport to where you shouldn't feel that way. And just from listening to him in that podcast, I was like, I think I like this guy. Like a non-bromance kind of way. I mean, maybe it was a bromance. I don't know. But definitely something just naturally clicked. I think like me and him jive really well. Honestly, I don't know who couldn't not get along with Chase. Like I would get how a lot of people wouldn't get along with me. I kind of have that kind of personality, I guess, apparently. So, but like Chase does, I don't know why anybody wouldn't like Chase. He's super easy to talk to, get along with. But so then last year, we started. I reached out to him via text after I listened to that podcast and say, hey man, we should just hang out, or I don't know. Well, I just texted him.
First, I think you were surprised that I was a Christian also. Maybe not surprised, but like that's we right. Connected over. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you texted me about mentioning my faith on, maybe it was JP's podcast, because I talked about my faith a lot in that. And you said, hey, I appreciate you talking about your faith. And I was like, oh, are you a Christian? And I didn't know. And then you said you were, and I was like, dude, we should do a Bible study. And then, so between those two things, we started doing the weekly Bible study. Me, you, and two more guys now are every week on Tuesday nights walking through the book of John verse by verse. And so like every week we're on a call hanging out, but we're also talking usually like on the phone once or twice between then too. Like every day he was riding for his 40-hour week on the trainer, I was calling him just to make sure he was still alive. And yesterday when I was doing the same stupid thing, he was texting me like, how many donuts have you eaten? And but just through all of that, and then how else did it happen? I guess just mainly that's how we got connected. But and then by the end of the year, we were like going to races, and at this point we didn't know we wanted to be teammates or anything, but we just liked hanging out. So like at Gravel Nats, we were like, oh, where are you staying? And where are you staying? And so we stayed at the same place. And at every race at that point forward, it was kind of like, oh, we're going to these races, let's hang out at these races together.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you go ahead, Chase.
I was gonna say at Core 4 we like slept.
Oh yeah,
on the same
couch, but it was
it's a L-shaped couch. We weren't like spooning, but
and there was a dog in between us too, so plenty of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool because you were like shaving my head in the bathroom, and I'm helping you like dye your mustache. Yeah.
So core four is kind of, I think, where you show up as friends, at least in the like social world, because you did some content together, and it was ridiculous content. I think we can all like it. It was like catch your eye, and again, we bring up Andrew Vaughn's name. He described you two as the personalities of professional wrestlers, and like yes. I of course love professional wrestling with all of my soul, and I think about like with both of you, and especially Drew, the question that I get having talked to you, But then I've had real conversations with you. Even tonight we were talking before Chase got on. And then I'll have friends and sometimes myself, I listen to the Bonk Bros or I listen to Matchbox and I'm just like, I don't know where one version of Drew ends and one's begin. This is truly like a professional wrestler. Like this is kayfabe, right? Like suspension of belief. So how much of that is...
I don't know where it is either.
How much is that important? I think Andrew's right. I think that's part of what's so intriguing about both of you. Chase as well, because Chase, you've got like the super nerd thing going on. But how much is it just a blast to show your personalities off and who you are, rather than be scared about like, man, I'm kind of like different. And now you two are like these two like super personalities.
Yeah, I guess like I talked with Vance. I messaged him a couple days ago, and I'm still working on this. Hopefully I launch it in a week or this weekend. But I asked him, like, should I start a YouTube channel? Because I think there's a lot of value in that, and there's a lack of personality lack of behind the scenes in the gravel scene content. You'll see a lot of reels or, I don't know, whatever. But he's like, yeah, we need more personality in the sport, and you have good personality, like, do it. People will probably love it, and I think that's why people love Drew, or maybe they don't like Drew, but it's because he actually has a personality. There's a lot of people who are just like, yep, I show up to the race, I do the race, I make an Instagram post saying I biked 120 miles, thank my sponsors, the end. Like, and sure, if you win races, you'll keep your sponsors that way. But I think Drew and I have both found out, like, another way to get sponsors or, create those relationships is, like, put your personality out there. Maybe these people are just, like, I'm really introverted, but, like, it's easy to talk to a camera because it's not actually a person. I think, yeah, putting yourself out there is the best way to, like, get sponsors, show yourself. People are going to love it or they're not going to, but at least you'll make friends along the way. Like, if Drew didn't put out his personality or if I didn't put out mine, like, we would have never met each other or have this team, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, honestly, like, one of the most emotional moments on the podcast last year is you crying at your kitchen table talking to me about feeling lonely, right? Mm-hmm. And that resonated with so many people. It wasn't just like this moment. It was so real to hear this guy who's chasing the dream be like, this is really hard on an emotional level. And that brings you two together, and it gets all the other things rolling too, but you were real. And Drew, the same for you. Like, I think people dig that you're real, or they don't. That's why you're the most like a professional wrestling character, because when they dislike you so strongly, like, that's a sign that you're doing it right. So yeah. How you just steer into your personality so much. How has that been like a conscious decision, or is that just like I'm here?
Yeah, I think it kind of evolved as the Bonk Bros evolved. Like, I slowly but surely became the guy that wasn't afraid to say the controversial things, and so then once you get that shtick, you just start to own it, I guess, Yeah. And I've contemplated, like, DJ's told me a couple times, like, maybe you should pump the brakes a little. I'm not like, but I get on there and something just gets flicked on, and I turn into this. I posted that Instagram reel or post I did a couple months ago about the mask is literally like to a T. It's like I question it, and then as soon as the record button gets played, I'm like, it's like I put the mask on and I go nuts, and and afterwards I'm like, crap, what did I just say? Like, people are gonna come at me. Like, I'm so glad some of the other guys that I race hopefully don't listen on a regular basis. But for all the people outside of those few people, it's hilarious, I think. And I mean, if people gotta, I was thinking about this. I think the people who don't like me so much on the Bonk Bros take themselves or take life too seriously. And to your point, those people probably hate wrestling. All the people that don't like me on the Bonk Bros are the people that wouldn't ever watch WWE because they can't. Yeah. That's too fake for them, or that's too, you know. And so what? Like, okay, if people are gonna not like me because I have a little bit of a spicy character or whatever, then fine. But I'm having a ton of fun. I think the other guys on the Bonk Bros are having a ton of fun, and yeah, I don't want to like take it too far, and maybe that's where it's like a thing in my head that I wrestle with, is like I do want to, if at all possible, there's a Bible verse that says this. It says, if at all possible, live peaceably with all people. And and so that verse does play in my head quite often. But I also think that maybe there's a balance there with humor, and I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to offend people to the point where it's bad for my faith or bad for the name of Jesus, because that's ultimately more important than everything else. That's what I'm living for. Yep. So if me like being this goofball on a podcast is doing harm to that, then I probably need to change.
Fair enough. One more thing on the YouTube channel, Chase. You got the ultimate compliment of why you should go for it by Dillman Johnson last week on my podcast, when he said Chase Wark needs a YouTube channel because it would be gold. And so I think I sent you that clip the other day, and if I didn't, I will.
No, but, you got it to me.
What does the upcoming, so what does this program look like? And where are we going? What are the commonalities? You know, obviously a few things are going to be different just because of local sponsors and that, but what are the commonalities? And Drew, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. Well, honestly, Chase brings so much to the table for the team. Lauf is the biggest supporter of the team. So the team's going to be called Lunchbox, but it's probably something along the lines of Lunchbox powered by Lauf, because Lauf is the biggest sponsor of the both of us. And so that's new to me for 2025. Never ridden Lauf until this year. Obviously know the brand for a long time, but Chase opened that door for me, which is amazing. I mean, like, this will be and this is just another like huge like I originally reached out to Chase just to be his friend, and then now he's hooking me up with massive sponsorship deals. I'm like, wow, who knew that this friendship was going to take us down this road 6 months ago? But now in 2025, I've got the most support I've ever had for bike racing in my life, to the point now where when I do my weekly training, I'm like, in my head, something has switched to I'm a professional now, because of the amount of support I have for racing. Up to this point, it had always been like, maybe I'll cover my expenses. And so now this year being like, okay, I'm making enough money for this to be a professional thing. Like, and all of that's got a huge part of that is because Chase opened the door to Lauf for me, and they were willing to support the both of us as we did this team together. So that's the biggest, I think, similarity. The kits will look the same. There will be a few smaller differences, like, for example, Chase is sponsored by Conti, and I'm not, so his will say Continental. Mine will have the Ignition logo. His will probably have his Wark coaching logo. But as far as the full-on kit design, it'll look the same, other than a few little changes. And we'll both be on Lauf bikes, obviously, both on Abus helmets, both with Bora clothing. I think that's it for similarities.
Look pedals.
Chase.
Oh yeah,
Chase,
Look pedals. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and Good Life. Good Life is a big one. Yeah.
Good to catch that one. Chase, what does the race program look like? Are there similarities in the race programs, or is it kind of you're still going to do what you're able to both go do?
I don't think we necessarily planned our schedule around trying to like do the exact same races. So like Drew, like I have this really early season 3 weeks in a row block of BWR Arizona, which Drew is coming to. So we'll be racing together there. But then Valley of Tears, I'll be traveling to myself, and then or like the week before BWR Arizona, Drew's doing a race in Georgia, I think. So like, you know,
The Kudzu Classic.
Nah, the grassroots gravel.
Oh, okay.
Big prize purse.
Homegrown gravel, I thought.
Homegrown gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I knew it was something goofy. Yeah. Homegrown. You're right.
And then like, I feel like our schedules are almost similar to what we did last year, which just, you know, it's not like crit racing where there's 20 big races you're probably traveling to, or that all the teams are going to. It's like 10, so we probably end up at 8 of those together. Like Drew
it's more than that, dude. We probably got like 20. We probably got like 20 races on the calendar.
Yeah, we have 20 races. I guess I do some. We probably end up at like 10 to 15 races together, I think. I haven't actually done a full comparison, but I do know what races we'll be at together. BWR Arizona, Mid-South, Sea Otter, hopefully. Unbound, and then there's this break in June. Drew will go do BWR Montana. I'll go do Lutsen in July. I don't know if
I'm doing the Rift. Are you doing the Rift?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We're doing the Rift mountain bike race together. Hopefully.
In August, yeah. Do you know about that, JP? The Rift mountain bike?
I know what it is. Yeah.
Oh, we can't. Yeah. A 5-day, 2-man. Yeah, that'd be cool. So we're going to make a cool video from that one. Does that count as 5 races or 1? I don't know.
That's true. 5 race days.
Yeah.
But then
Gravel Worlds.
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff at the end of this season were together. So Gravel Worlds, maybe Core 4, the Rift mountain bike stage race, which is at the end of August, Schwamigan, Gravel Nationals, Big Sugar, maybe Little Sugar. Actually, I won't be at Little Sugar. I know that for sure. So there's a cool race in Minnesota happening that weekend that I'll be directing. So
right on. Yeah. So you talk about having this, you know, these races where you go 2 together. You're on a team per se, but are you there more like as teammates in spirit? You're not like playing rock, paper, scissors before the race of like who's going to lead things out or like be the worker bee today and who's going to like go for it as the leader. Am I correct in that? Like it's just you're working together kind of in spirit?
What do you mean?
I think like
I'm dropping road tactics, JP. Full on. If Chase is in the break, now I got a legit excuse not to pull through. Like before, I had to lie and say I was weak and I couldn't pull through. Now all I got to do is say, bro, my teammate is up the road. I ain't doing squat. Nobody else does that.
In the break is not a question, Drew. It's
he's
gonna be there.
Yeah, I know. That's gonna be great for me. And you know what's gonna happen as soon as the early break gets caught? Counterattack. That's what's gonna happen.
Fair. Okay.
I'll probably get shot out the back when Drew does that, but as long as he wins, we'll split all that prize money that's in gravel racing.
Yeah, all that prize money.
Yeah.
When I was on Texas Roadhouse for crit racing, it seemed like we always had a game plan going into the crits, and it never, ever happened. Like, never. Not even close.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to have little powwows before the race and be like, all right, here's when you're going to attack and then here's what I'm going to do. I think it'll be more of like, here's a general idea of what we want to happen. But both of us are smart enough bike racers to know how to move and shuffle as things get swung and flying around in the race. But we intend very much so to use each other's strengths and weaknesses and to lean on each other throughout the race. Like, I think that's a development of the sport that needs to happen that we haven't really seen happen that much. There is teams, but you don't see much team tactics, and I don't know if that's because people are just dumb enough that they don't know how to, or the teams don't align good enough capabilities. I don't know, but I foresee me and Chase being able to help each other quite a bit in these races.
Yeah. If the spirit of gravel will allow it.
I think Drew and I enjoy like actually racing, and not just gravel is usually just this grindstone, follow Keegan's wheel. Heck, at Gravel Nationals, everyone was Keegan's teammate to pull our breakaway back, which I thought was the dumbest thing ever when I saw a video of everyone helping him. I'm like, okay. But, like, it's no secret. I like going off the front, and if Drew can sit in, or even better, like, if there's a rotating pace line, maybe he screws it up once or twice. You don't want to be like the meanie who does that a whole bunch, or else.
Oh, I thought you were going to drop a name there, Chase.
You're going to get some words given to you. But, like, or if Drew...
Talking about Adam Roberge?
I didn't say a name. I just was curious.
If there's anybody, yeah, he's got to be the guy.
I mean, yeah, Drew can just chill in the back with Adam. They'll probably become best friends by the end of the season.
Yeah, I love the way Adam races. Like, there's things that he'll do in the middle of the race that really tick me off, and then afterwards I'm like, yep, he was smart for doing that. Like, things that happen in every crit and every road race, but for some reason it's like offensive that you do those things in a gravel race. It's like, no, come on, like, we're gonna do this because it's better for us. Might not be good for you guys, but it's better for me and Chase, and so we're gonna do that.
Well, that's what I think is interesting about you guys is the sport has become so optimized. Like, it's so, everything that was happening on the road 10 years ago, 12 years ago is happening in gravel currently. And I look, especially like with Chase and the things you're doing with your bike and the way you're thinking, and then Drew, you bring in like the road tactics from your experiences there, and it just seems like it's a perfect storm for you guys to come in and just really shake things up about what people have tried to say is the status quo in gravel. And I think it's really exciting. I think what you guys bring to the table, I think Andrew's right, that you provide something that people haven't seen and they don't really know what to even be looking for.
Yeah, Chase has completely, like, changed the way I think. I'm surprised that Dylan didn't have that effect on me for some reason, like, because I had been friends with him for a couple of years, and it rubbed off a little bit, but when me and Chase started hanging out last summer after Unbound, like, from the time between Unbound and Core 4, I felt like I had gone through this, like, evolution of, like, whoa, there's so much more that I need to be doing as far as my tech and my bike and my position that could be so much better. And a month and a half after Unbound was the first time I raced with aero bars. It was like, I'm thinking about tires, I'm thinking about everything, because Chase was like plugging all, like, every time me and Chase talked, he's telling me about this stuff that he's thinking about, and I'm like, oh, dude, you're thinking way outside the box. And so now I'm trying as hard as I can to think, like, what's the next out of the box thing that we can do that's going to optimize our equipment. And we have, like, that's like one of our normal conversations every week that we have, like, oh, I'm thinking about this, like, and we bounce all these goofy ideas off of each other.
Yeah. Well, even Drew's, or even Dylan said last week on my podcast, he said, Chase does things that are, like you said, way outside the box. Like Dylan's way into the training minutia and some tech stuff. But I mean, you look at what Chase, like what you did at Gravel Nats the last few years, and the first time you did the dam. I mean, you essentially showed up to the party with a grenade in your hand and just lifted it over your head, and has dared everybody else to like get in line. And yeah, so. Chase, how excited are you about this coming season?
I'm like super excited because now I have a best friend to travel with, and I think this winter would be super lonely if I wasn't having those Bible studies every single Tuesday, because like I am kind of secluded. It's just me and my wife. She's been working kind of a lot, but then like I do get time with her, but then I also get time with Drew, and like I've been making more content and like that's of like fake virtue. I don't know. It's people comment or message me. Like I literally have probably I have 18 unread text messages right now, and yeah, so I'm like I talk with people all the time, but yeah, I'm excited to see what Drew and I can do as teammates. I do think it is like the other teams that do exist out there. I feel like Toby and Russell are like the closest aligned in like skill or like how they would race, but it really doesn't suit team tactics. They both kind of just sit in. They're not risk takers, so because they do have the skill that they can just stay in the pack till it whittles down and finish whatever. So yeah, I'm excited to like I don't know, are Drew and I the most talented or highest like most powerful racers? No, but I think one of us can do something crazy and hopefully pull off a huge result at one of these races and like upset Keegan, Russell, Toby, Dylan now can be a name that you throw in there. Like, yeah. So I'm excited to hopefully like, again, hockey reference, Lunchbox, but if we can like pull off a Minnesota Miracle, that's a football reference, but like the Miracle on Ice, like can the, young weird guys beat in the Miracle movie, it's the Soviets, but it's one of my favorite movies that gets me pumped up, so I do want to pull off something crazy like that.
I remember this is gonna be like we're gonna do story time. I remember when I was on Roadhouse, we had done really well at the very first race of the year. And I was sitting like top 10 in the crit series, whatever the crit series was back then. I don't even remember, ACC or something like that. So the team was like, well, since you're top 10, let's send you and two of our other fast guys up to Rochester, New York for round number 2 to see if we can't bump you up a little bit in the overall ranking, and maybe we'll chase that for the year. So we fly up to Rochester, New York, me and Kyle Perry and Cade Bickmore, and we're there for the day before. We all fly in the day before. We pre-ride. We're hanging out. And the race starts, and we do 3 laps. And a storm hits, like, downtown Rochester, like, super hard. So they stop the race because there's lightning in the vicinity. And we sit in a parking garage for, like, 2 hours as it just dumps. And then eventually, because it got so late into the night, they were like, we can't do the race. Like, our permits are up in 30 minutes, and so the race is just going to be canceled. So we flew all the way to Rochester, New York to race 3 laps of a crit, got 0 results. And I still remember that trip because we had a ton of fun just hanging out in the hotel room, like riding around, hanging out with other people. And had that just been a race I'd gone to by myself, it would have been a terrible, miserable experience. But because I went with teammates and I thoroughly enjoyed those teammates, like, the trip from a racing perspective was a wash, but it was still a lot of fun because of who you're with. And so I think even if we don't get any results this year. I mean, we're totally trying to get results. But even if we don't, I think the level of enjoyment that both of us are going to get from racing this year is going to go up quite a bit just from the friendship.
Here, I'll do this. I'll make it tonight. Give us a follow on Lunchbox_Racing, our new Instagram account.
It doesn't even exist yet.
It will exist by Monday. I can't guarantee my YouTube channel will exist by then, but I can guarantee there will be Instagram account, Lunchbox_Racing, maybe Gravel Racing if...
Did you even check if this domain's available, Chase?
Nope.
Nah.
But
that's why you put the underscore in there. Yeah. The underscore guarantees it's not taken. Yeah.
And yeah, we'll...
All right. Well, wouldn't you know it? When you name a Instagram account that doesn't exist, it might already be taken. And indeed, what Chase named off was already taken. So this is a little bit after we recorded. Everything's sorted now. Lunchbox Racing, all one word, on Instagram is the account name. So go on and follow those guys. Back to the show.
The account will exist when you post about this reel. We'll do a collab as the first post. Me, the Stable Cyclist podcast, Drew, and Lunchbox Racing account. And that's how we'll announce the team, along with this emergency podcast.
I'm not cutting any of this out.
No, I know. And an Instagram account is easy to make. A YouTube channel with like a 10-minute video, I have found out that is very hard to do.
Yeah, YouTube ain't easy. Yeah, for sure.
I think I might just start a podcast instead. That seems way easier.
Yeah, probably. I think I've done like 8 podcasts in the last month, and I haven't done a single YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you want YouTube videos, folks, Stable Cyclist is the place.
There you go. You can
every other week podcast. It was an emergency. We had to share this important info today. That's why you're getting a podcast on a Monday. The regular podcast drops on Friday when I'll have gold medal winner Samantha Bosco on to talk about all kinds of good stuff. You, of course, can go watch Mata Hate Together, the latest feature-length film. We
didn't talk about how that's on our, we're going to come destroy that record. Dude, Quadsworth and Turner couldn't do it. They couldn't bring home the bag. So me and Chase are going to, dude, we're going to blow it out of the water. I watched that and was like, and first of all, I had some comments because, like, Quadsworth is all about, like, oh, friends, let's stay together. And he does end up dropping him in the end. I'm like, dude, no way. If Chase is slow on mile 1, he's gone. Like, if you can't hang, you can't hang. I'm going for this record, buddy.
This is pro wrestling Drew Dillman right here.
Yeah, it's gonna be called Matahay alone. Not together. We tried, but it was solo.
Yeah, you can go find that on the channel. A really good interview with Dylan Johnson where we go super deep on bike nerdery stuff is there too. Guys, thanks so much for joining. This was awesome, and best of luck this year. And everybody knows where to find all of you except for the new Lunchbox Instagram account, which
that will
rewind
exist.
about 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It'll exist.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Remember, you're loved.